Hello, viewers of the Vanguardian kind. We are coming at you with a deck review, actually. We're going to be reviewing the character decks from start to finish, not just on the VGP school, as it's called over here, but also on the ones that aren't the VGP school, so in other words, not the ones that have like the sort of format of deck. Anyway, I'm here with Chronos Hydra.
Yup.
And basically, the first deck I think that was actually confirmed was Aichi's Shadow Paladin deck. Now, Aichi, as we remember, in episode 43 of the anime, or 42, Aichi went essentially crazy with Psyqualia. Episode 43, he received this deck from Ren Suzukamori, and yeah, he became a badass for a couple of episodes.
You say badass, I say, douche.
Well, yeah. He was
I'm a badass douche.
Yeah, he was a badass douche. Anyway, we're going to review his deck, and obviously most of his wins were sort of nurtured by the fact that he had Psyqualia. We're going to be reviewing his deck. His starting bank, he's using the Blaster Dark Ride Chain because of course he got a new avatar, the dark version of Blaster Blade, which is Blaster Dark, and his start is obviously going to be full bow. Right, this is main grade 0. He's doing rainbow triggers here, which is sort of like Joe's sort of ratio.
Yeah, I tend to use this a lot in non-Cargaro decks. It's a change for Aichi because if you look at in most of his decks, he just goes full crit.
Actually no, that's only later on because he still has sand triggers as an old deck, but now he just has rainbow.
Oh, so he started with rainbow triggers and got rainbow triggers here, but most of the time he's using crits. Anyway, yeah, go on.
But yeah, basically, so he's using the Abyss Healer, the Darkside Trumpeter, the Abyss Freezer, and the Grim Reaper. So that's basically it for his trigger ratio. They're all vanillas. Nothing really special there. Then he's got 3 Perfect Guard, which is the Maclear, which is, I thought, for the time, that was sort of generic. You didn't want to run 4 PGs. But now in this break ride area, now it's nice to like run 4. Nowadays.
Yeah, I still tend to run 3 quite a lot because it clogs for me a lot. But it depends on how you play and what you want to do with it. So.
Yeah, and essentially, he's teched in the 1 Doran Bow,
Which is a massive, just pointless.
It's not pointless. It does the same as Wingull.
Wingull. I know, but having 1 when you have 4 Blaster Blades is nah.
4 Blaster Darks, but yeah.
Blaster Dark. I know what I meant. Same thing, just bonds,
And then he's using 3 of the Shout clone, which is Witch of Nostrum Arian Rod. Yeah, basically he's just rest and then drop and draw. Although I've never actually seen him. I think he never actually really used this skill. I think he used it like once, and then every single time he's used it as a booster for Phantom Blaster Dragon. And then you got 4 of the 8K Vanilla. Nothing much to say about that. Replacing Marin, which is the Black Sage Karen. And then you got 4 of the next stage of the Ride Chain, which is Blaster Javelin.
Yep, which has sort of 2 different sort of skills to it. But yeah.
For those of you that don't know this kind of Ride Chain. When you ride him on top of full bow, you can add a Blaster Dark to your hand, and if you call him to rear guard, you can drop a grade 3, and search for Phantom Blaster Dragon. I forgot to tell the people about the ratio that he's using. He's using a very awkward ratio. He's using I think 17. Like for his grade 0s, obviously, because you always use 17. He's using, in terms of grade 1s, he's using 15 grade 1s, 11 grade 2s, and 7 grade 3s.
Not exactly, balanced, but
no, it is balanced, but like sort of that was a generic build back then.
It's rather heavy on the grade 1s, to be honest.
He's the difference is like 4 between each grade, which sort of like I'm thinking that might have balance issues. You might be starting getting like lots of more grade 1s than he is getting grade 3s or something like that,
But this is anime, and in the end, he'll always get what he needs. So.
He had Psyqualia. He had a reason to get what he needed, essentially. Okay, now he's using sort of 3 Lemon, which was sort of like a staple in Shadow Paladins during that time. If you didn't run a Shadow Paladin deck without Lemon, you're practically fucked. Because there's just that draw power. You can essentially call a unit, counterblast, drop a Shadow Paladin, and then you recover the hand that you used to call her. As well as 2 new cards, and tossing out a card that you don't need, which probably cycles out the dead draw triggers that he'd probably get from his drive checks. Then you've got 4 of the 10k vanilla, which is Rugos, which looks amazing.
Yeah. Looks alright.
Then he has 4 of the Blaster Dark. Now, people are a bit iffy on the changes about this. I mean, some people on the second half of the ride chain, some people either run 4 of it, so they can get to the 11k if they miss grade 1, but end up getting grade 2 instead. But some of them actually run 2, some actually run 2 or even 1, relying completely on the getting the grade 1.
Well, to be fair, in a deck like this, if you don't get the grade 1, you're fucked anyway, whether you have Blaster Dark or not.
I mean, Aichi was sort of like was horny over Blaster Dark at the time, so I guess he was his obsession would probably explain the reason why he's using 4 of them, because you know it is his new avatar, or it was his new avatar at the time. Obviously, you can see his creepy elf face down here. And then okay, now for the grade
psychotic Aichi. Yeah,
you got to go into the grade 3 setup over here. You've got 3 of his Phantom Blaster Dragon.
Of course, you can't have a old school Shadow Paladin without this amazing card.
Yeah, what does like sort of get iffy about like in terms of Phantom Blaster Dragon is I often like notice he's using 3 of them. Now, I noticed this, right? And he's not using 4. Now, the reason for this is that because he's using 4 Blaster Javelin, what he has done in many occasions, like the general strategy, you can call a Blaster Javelin, drop a Phantom Blaster, search one out, and get it back, and then sort of like thin your deck out in order to force yourself to get triggers. But the annoying thing about this is that he only uses 3, so he can only do this like a certain number of times before he reaches his last Phantom Blaster Dragon. And, well, it is unlikely to get 4 Phantom Blasters into the soul. It's a lot more in the damage zone. It's a lot more likely to get more Phantom Blasters into the damage zone, and it makes it less likely for him to draw it. Then he's got his his Tekken 1 Dark Metal Dragon as an alternative Vanguard, which he's never actually used as an alternative Vanguard, instead deciding to call it as a rear guard. In many occasions, just for Phantom Blaster Dragon Sacrifice, and Badab Car basically solely to fuel Phantom Blaster skill.
Yep. Oh, as this is anime, he can basically like use anything just to boost the power of Phantom Blaster, because you know he'll always get it. And
yeah, Psyqualia, but
Psyqualia
in terms, I think this was sort of like supposed to sort of like mirror a trial deck. In hindsight,
yeah, I'm not sure how this would work, how well this would work as a trial deck, but I can see where you're coming from. I mean,
it would be like the most expensive trial deck in the world. It'd probably be a mega deck, but you know,
yeah,
you got like the tips down here. You got addition column. But yeah, I mean, overall, I've tried this deck on my own. Right, it was the I remember I was like, when I first started out this game, I was playing Royals, and I kept losing a lot, and eventually I looked at this deck, and I decided to try it out for a spin, because I was a big fan of the anime at the time. I completely and utterly smashed my friend's grade natures. I took out as Leopold. I was damned charging lancing everywhere. I was silly at the time. I absolutely loved grade 3 skills.
Being a bit of a Morikawa then, are you?
No, I knew my ratios. I wasn't gonna be an unbalanced wreck like Morikawa, but I did love my Phantom Blaster Dragon, and I was running regular Phantom Blaster for a while until I saw Phantom Blaster Overlord, and then I was basically discovering things as I saw them in the anime, really.
So that's how you built your decks. See them in the anime, I want that.
Yeah, sort of. I used this exact build against my friend,
Cool.
and that's what the build that I beat him with. I absolutely adored it.
Back back in the day, but back when season 1 times, this would be like Kaiba's deck from Yu-Gi-Oh. This would be the big boss, badass. You got it, you win. It's that simple.
Yeah. Anyway, as a whole, he's using he's using a balanced ratio, but sometimes I feel like the ratio is too far apart to actually be balanced enough. Then again, this probably would be equal to what Ren's deck was at the time when he defeated Kote, so it would generally be powerful enough to do that. And
Yeah.
of course, this is Season 1 we're talking about. This probably been decent before Phantom Blast Overlord got released.
Yeah, it just sort of went like rather OP for a bit when Phantom Blast Overlord was released. It just went,
Yeah, eventually, like, Cross Ride started going power creep and everyone was playing Overlord or Overlord at the end.
and then everyone else got, every other deck got cross rides
But
and
other than that, I think this would have been like a very nice deck to have used at the time. I believe this build was also simulated in the stand-up, the film, Vanguard movie, with Daigo in it when he was helping Hiroki. There was this guy called Teru in it, and he was using a Phantom Blaster Dragon deck. But then, sort of, when they got to the tournaments, they had upgraded the decks, and he was using Phantom Blaster Overlord. And
well, I haven't actually seen that.
he won only because he got a 6th heal trigger.
What a sick filter. See, this is why you can't trust anything you see in films.
Yeah, it was sort of like he thought the main character's gonna win, and suddenly bang, heal trigger owns the guy.
Just a random filter.
I like heal triggers. Everyone likes heal triggers.
Yeah, we all do, but 6 is pushing it.
Anyway, so I hope you liked our deck review. We know that Aichi was a boss at this time. But yeah,
you know I'm right.
yeah, he was a bit of a dick. So, this only went on for like 7 episodes. So yeah.
Thankfully. Any more, I think I would have punched my computer screen. Anyway, yeah.
So I am sorry for like the lack of card fighting. I was actually in a bad mood until now. I had to get Joe to show me a bunch of fat jokes.
And kittens.
Yeah, to cheer me up. So yeah.
Can't not love kittens.
But yeah, I'm Chronos Phoenix.
And I'm Chronos Hydra.
And we're signing out. Thanks for watching.